Hey there, it's Ben from patternprofits.net bringing you the weekly watch list. We're looking at IWO, our proxy for small cap growth. Descending trend line here now being retested from above. Late last week on Friday, we closed below anchored VWAP from off of the high. Anchored VWAP, this red line of anchored VWAP, that's the year to date. Anchored VWAP also now below that level. So we'll have to see if this area provides support for a bounce. We're now below volume shelf and point of control 2. So well worth keeping an eye on early next week to see how we respond there. Also keeping an eye on Amazon. You have quite a few of these bigger names, former leaders setting up. They've come a long way. Most of them have had big runs like this, good volume, but they're coming into areas of resistance now. Amazon 35.54 pivot above will look a lot nicer if it forms another little handle here or a little cup and then comes out. But some of them have been going straight through pivot and off to new highs. So worth keeping an eye on. In the same kind of vein, Shop is another one. Has had that same straight up from the bottom look. Great volume there on the way up, but now coming into that resistance area near 1500, 1499.75 actually the prior high. Again, these look much better when they form a handle up here, but some of them have been pushing right through. I would put Crowd in there too. Another one worth keeping an eye on. This one came right through the midpoint pivot here at 227.20, now coming up to that resistance prior high 251.28. Again, would look much better if it puts in a little handle here over a week or two and then comes through. But some of these lately, they haven't even been pausing, just pushing right into new highs. Pool, we talked about this one late last week. I have 449.44 as a pivot above. You did take out the descending trend line with a nice candle on good volume late on Friday. Anchored VWAP from the power earnings gap acting as support below. Let's see if it can push through that 449.44 pivot and serve a breakout there. I have Copart CPRT. This a little bit of a larger pattern here and kind of an inverse head and shoulders look to it. 130.96 the pivot there. Good action Thursday and Friday on good volume. So looking to see if that can push through. I like the way this one looks. Normally I tell you guys, oh, it needs a handle up here. This one has already seemed to shake out a little bit. So a push through 130.96 serve as a breakout there. If oil is strong, I still like CHX. I like how this one kind of came back and retested the prior pivot of 25.59 and then bounced. You had a decent day on Friday, but good volume there on that move. And this level, good one to manage risk up against, especially on strength. I like CPE too, but I'm going to give you a new name, one that I haven't really discussed much, SM. And this one, a very similar type setup to CHX, had a good breakout, strong volume, well above average, and has come back, retested that $20 level, and then had a good day on Friday. So I think that's one, along with CHX and CPE, worth keeping an eye on if oil and energy gets a lift next week. I also have from the power earnings gap list, EFX. We've had this one on a couple times, and you now have a reclaim of anchored VWAP from off the power earnings gap. You have this descending trend line here inside day to work with. If I pull my volume by price over, bring this over, you'll see that we are right there as far as volume shelf point of control. That inside day comes out to the upside. You get the breakout of the descending trend line And then you look for a move above that high, which is 242.13 here, a pivot breakout. All of this is also 3 weeks tight. So you've got a lot going on there, and it would not take much strength over 234.05 from Friday to get that out of there. I also have IT. Gartner Inc. is also a pennant up high, just looking for some resolution of this little triangle pattern. Anchored VWAP from off the power earnings gap, volume shelf point of control right there. This one looks ready to go one way or another, again on the 3 weeks tight list. So look for that to make a move out of there, like I said, one way or another. I also have IGT, International Game Technology, which had a good run on the breakout on big volume, as you see there. Anchored VWAP from off of that breakout now. Price testing it, closed right there on Friday. I kind of like this one for a bounce on strength and if the market cooperates. A lot of eyes on AMD, so I'm going to go ahead and share my thoughts on this one. I had a lot of people asking about it too. Price did clear and get above anchored VWAP from off of the high, as well as the red one anchored VWAP. That's the year-to-date anchored VWAP. You did clear both of those on good volume on Thursday. Came back, retested that level on Friday, and not a bad candle there, considering how strong of a move it was on Thursday. You've got a pivot above 89.20, which is a pivot of this double bottom pattern. Shook out on this side, which we always like to see. So looking for a run there to 89.20. And then if it can push through there, maybe give a run towards those prior highs, which are up right around 100. So I do like this. I think it's easy to manage right here too if you did try to take it. If it rolls back over, closes below anchored VWAPs, easy exit. Another one that has a similar look, and I didn't have many focus list names this week, but this is one that had a good run a while back, Orgo, and Brian Shannon reminded us last week how important it is to have that anchored VWAP, the year-to-date anchored VWAP. You're going to see a lot of this. There's quite a few that are testing the year-to-date anchored VWAP right now. I think this is one that's easy to manage. You had a descending trend line that it cleared too, and very easy to manage if it should roll back over here. You have a 1975 pivot. Kind of view this early as a double bottom pattern, but on continued strength here, look for that run to 1975. Then if it can push through that level, you get a run back towards those prior highs, 24.34. When you hear me say up the right side, this is what I'm referring to, is a stock that has kind of come down, formed a little reversal pattern, in this case a double bottom. Sometimes it just etches out the bottom of the cup and then starts to come up the right side on good volume. You see a couple days there, several days in there on good volume. For early next week, that is all I have on the radar. I hope you guys have a great trading week, and I will see you over on FinTwit.